I was 15 learning to drive. My dad sat there and he said, expect nothing, anticipate everything. Not the first time he told me that either. Also, a pretty important lesson in terms of baseball growing up. Expect nothing, anticipate everything. Be ready for everything. Don't get relaxed and expect a certain outcome. And so, baseball, driving, life, business, and yes, technical analysis, trading, investing. Expect nothing, anticipate everything. Probably one of the strongest life lessons my dad has given me. And I want to start this video off by just putting that out there. Expect nothing, anticipate everything, because it is extremely important. And so let's jump into technical analysis. Let's jump into the crazy volatile roller coaster of Bitcoin and talk about what to anticipate. And before we do, I do want to visit the video that we did yesterday. In case you missed it, we'll take a quick little look at a piece of that video for underlying context to this video. You see Bitcoin kind of with this pullback here on the daily chart, and here's that 618 on Fibonacci to the 786 on Fibonacci. There is that channel right there. So until we break that channel, Bitcoin is looking completely fine, in my opinion. Again, this is my opinion. This is not financial advice. So Bitcoin trading at around $7,719 when I recorded that video. And you can see, let's jump into the charts. You can see we've really broken into that channel. Like we've almost literally wicked down to the bottom of that channel. We tested that 786. So we're going to look at that. We're also going to talk about some momentum oscillators, and we're also going to revisit history to kind of get an idea of what these higher lows look like if this is a higher low in play on the daily. So first off, we obviously are watching the fib channel for this current support that we wicked down on the daily candle. We wicked like actually right below the 786. One thing that is extremely important is there's very relevant confluence happening in that 786 support area, and that relevant confluence is basically this previous higher high close that we had on July 19th. So not only do we have the 786 in play for support, but we also have this previous high daily candle close on July 19th. So right now we have support. And in that video yesterday, I said, we can have a very bullish bounce off of that area. So momentum wise, what might that look like? Well, we can visit the stock RSI because there's really certain things happening. We're being set up nicely from a momentum standpoint, from an oscillator standpoint, because we've come back down on the daily stock RSI, which is important if you're trying to increase momentum in a longer term bullish run, right? So we can get a really good idea of what's happened in the last, say, since beginning of June by looking at the stock RSI and seeing as we kind of form this bottom in Bitcoin and we form this reverse head and shoulders on Bitcoin, you can see right in this area here, where I have this orange line, we've gotten this bounce in momentum on the stock RSI. So each time for the previous 2 times that we've been in this oversold area, we've gotten a nice bounce, meaning we didn't really hang around in the oversold area on the stock RSI, which when we're hanging around in the oversold area on the stock RSI, it's mainly because we're in a downtrend. So the fact that we've gotten some nice quick bounces off that oversold area and back up really was a nice indicator of a bottom. And then obviously we had that reverse head and shoulders in play, breaking through that neckline at that second bounce off the stock RSI oversold. So the key thing to look out for now is this going to continue? And if we do get a bounce off support on the stock RSI and we see this kind of turn around now as it did previously right at the same exact area on stock RSI, then what we're going to see is most likely a confirmed higher low on the daily, which is what we've been talking about. Another thing you can kind of take note of is on the RSI, you really can get a sense of these clear, higher low patterns on the RSI in terms of momentum. So we have right there, we have the formation of the bottom, and now we have these higher lows. So what we want to see in addition to support at the 786 is obvious support right around here in this trend line on the RSI. So really we want to see momentum pick back up. What's nice to see in terms of the RSI is we're not in the overbought area. So we have plenty of room to grow and continue this uptrend in Bitcoin. So from an oscillator, momentum oscillator standpoint, Bitcoin is well positioned. One thing I do want to take note of, because obviously if we just measure the price range from that previous high that we had to where we are now, we're down like 12% in Bitcoin. And people are, feeling discouraged by that and, are pretty convinced that we're going to continue this trend down, because 12%, in the matter of however long it's been, not fun at all. And it's been around a week being down 12%. But one thing I want to throw out there to you, and we talk about this a lot on the channel, is this is the movement of Bitcoin. Up 40%, down 12, 20%. And to get a really good idea of that, I wanted to just real quick visit back as we exited the bear markets a few years ago. So this is right around the end of 2015 into 2016 when Bitcoin, started its momentum back up out of that bottom. One thing I wanted to just point out is similar situation played out. I know it's a completely different time, different markets, but Bitcoin really has continued moving the same exact way since then. Nothing has really changed in terms of volatility. It's the same environment of volatility. So you can see as we got out of this bottom, we obviously broke this previous high area. We broke through it. We went up nicely, and then we came back down. And from this high, we came down 24%. So when we came back down, we actually saw support at that previous high. So similar to now, we're coming back down in a similar fashion, not down 24%, but down 12%. And right now, we are seeing support at the previous high close. So I just wanted to point that out and just, keep in mind that that went on to continue over the years, this exact pattern. So we saw support there in November 2015. We bounced up for 47% gains within the matter of 1 to 2 weeks. And then look, from that high, we're back down 25% and then continues on and on, higher highs, higher lows, 40% gains, 20% losses, roller coaster ride. So that volatility has not changed. So just be prepared for it. Definitely don't be too discouraged by these pullbacks that we're in the middle of right now. However, do be prepared and anticipate, like we talked about, the possibility that this really was the marker right here for a new lower high on the daily. So be prepared for that, because that's a possibility as well. So we talk about expecting nothing, anticipating everything. So we do want to anticipate a bounce off this area. So be comfortable with your position, but also be comfortable with your position if we're actually going to continue this downtrend. And we might see little bounces off of this area to start seeing lower highs and lower lows. And, we might be going down. So obviously, nobody knows what's going to happen. I will not sit here and say that I know. But right now, in terms of technical analysis, in terms of what the charts are telling me, Bitcoin is positioned for a bounce back up off of these support areas at the 786, this higher high close. The momentum oscillators are looking nice. So from a technical perspective, Bitcoin has some very nice bullish potential. It does. And lastly, I'll end the video here by just taking a quick look at the 4-hour chart. So not only are we pretty much in that oversold area on the daily, but if you go over to the 4-hour chart and you can see it, we're right in this channel here that we have on the daily, right? This 786, 618 on the daily. We're in the channel, but we're also nicely oversold with some momentum up right now on the stock RSI. So could this be the third time we bounce off of this area to form a new higher low? Possibly, time will tell. But as always, expect nothing, anticipate everything. Just check out your portfolio, make sure you're cool with it, either or. If we're up or down, make sure you're comfortable so you're not stressing, so that you're not emotionally tied to this market, because that is probably the worst thing that anybody can do, is be emotionally tied to this market. So those are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on these charts. Let me know your thoughts on price movement, Bitcoin price movements. Let me know how you're handling this market. I hope you're doing well. I truly appreciate you coming by. I will see you in the next video, and God bless.